In this video, I'm going to show you how to record great looking video even if you've never done it before. This is one of the most valuable skills that you could possibly have in business, even if you don't have a business that has anything to do with marketing or recording video, because you can record video that is for your marketing, even if you're an auto mechanic or you're a weight loss coach or you do something that's your personal trainer, you do something that's completely unrelated to marketing and social media influence, that kind of thing, you can get a lot of attention for yourself, for your business, and for your brand if you know how to make good video. And you're going to send a much more positive impression if you know how to do video well than if you do video poorly. So most of us do not know this. I mean, they don't teach us this in school. Our ancestors never had to record videos. It's not natural to look at a inanimate object and speak to it as though you're talking to a person. It's kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. It does not come naturally to the vast majority of people. However, like I said, it's very valuable, so I'm going to show you how to do it. And in this video, I'm going to give you the kind of the 80-20, like the 20% of tips that's going to give you 80% of the results, and without you having to have some fancy home studio set up or a fancy camera or really like take acting lessons or all that stuff that is expensive and takes a long time. So first thing, I'm just going to go through step by step for what you need here. So step one is the equipment. You need a camera, obviously. You need something to record yourself on. I recommend that you use, and by the way, I'm mostly talking about here is ad videos. For social media videos is actually very similar, but I'm have in my head as I'm writing this, I have ad videos. So if you've seen one of my ads on YouTube, for example, that's the kind of ad video that I'm talking about. You can run the same kind of ad videos on TikTok or on Facebook, and then the same format applies essentially for social media videos as well, although social media videos tend to be a little bit more free form, whereas ad videos are much more scripted and you really want to nail every little second of it because that's what makes an ad work. Anyway, so for your equipment, you need a camera. I recommend a phone camera or a DSLR. A DSLR is one of those fancy professional cameras. I can show you mine that's sitting right here. I'm not recording this video now on one of these. I'm recording it on a webcam just because I'm screen sharing. If you're screen sharing, then yeah, you probably want to record on a webcam, unless you have some kind of fancy setup where you have your DSLR and you can screen share. I'm not that sophisticated. I don't know how to do that. But if you're just recording yourself, definitely the phone camera or the DSLR. If you don't have a DSLR, if you don't have a professional camera, that's totally fine. The phone cameras now are excellent. Like if you have a modern smartphone, then the phone camera works just fine. And that's really all you need, and don't sweat it. I recommend that you do not use a webcam unless, like I said, you're screen sharing. Because I'm screen sharing, my video, the video of myself is just this tiny little box in the corner. And so a webcam looks just fine for that. But if I'm just recording myself and I'm the whole screen, if I record on a webcam, it's going to look grainy and it's not going to look very good. So don't use a webcam like that. Okay, so you need a camera. Now you need something to hold the camera. Ideally, and this is another difference between social media and ads, if you're doing social media, you can sometimes get away with just holding your phone up like this, and you're going to be shaking a little bit, and it's not going to look all that polished. But if you're doing an ad video, then I definitely recommend that you have somewhere to put it. Generally, that would be on a tripod. You can get a tripod for dirt cheap. You can even get these, like actually what I just showed you that I have my DSLR on. This is a little desk tripod. I just set this on my desk. Actually, I have a printer that has a flat top on top of my desk, and I leave it on my printer. That's where I keep that. The same thing, you can get the same thing if you have a phone. That actually was one that had a phone attachment. I just took the phone attachment off it and put the DSLR instead. That works just fine. Or if you need, and it's being held up by the desk. If you want something that's bigger, then you can get a bigger tripod. Or if you don't have a tripod at all, you can just improvise something. Like I used to use, I'd put like a stack of books on a table and just lean the phone against the stack of books. and that works just fine. The whole point is that you're just keeping it steady. You're having it on something that's going to be steady. You're not holding it on your hand so it's shaking all over the place. Now, if you have a microphone, that's cool. It's totally optional, but it can be helpful. I have a little, show you this. It's a little lapel mic. You just stick it on your shirt here, and that makes it sound a little bit nicer. If you don't have that, then no big deal. If you want to get one, they're like 20 bucks on Amazon. They're pretty cheap. And then you can get teleprompter attachments too. Like you can get a teleprompter app on your phone or a teleprompter attachment for your camera. I really don't like those. I don't recommend it because what ends up happening is that the teleprompter has to be moving, has to be scrolling at exactly the right speed for you to speak it. And so if you're speaking a little bit faster or if you're speaking a little bit slower, then you're going to get lost. And even if you have it at the right speed now, if you have some variation in your speech, which most people do, then you're going to get a little faster, you're going to get a little slower, and you're going to lose the teleprompter, and it ends up sounding really awkward. Plus, if you mess up a line here and there, which is very common, you probably are going to mess up lots of lines. I certainly do. Even now, after having done this for years, I still mess up lines all the time. If I'm using a teleprompter, well, the teleprompter's not going to know that I messed up and like go back. It's just going to keep on rolling. So I really don't like those very much. So anyway, that's really all you need for equipment. And then for lighting is really important in terms of video quality. This is the single most important thing. You could have like the best, most expensive camera in the world with crappy lighting, and you could have your phone camera with nice lighting, and the phone camera video will be significantly better. Like nothing beats lighting in terms of video quality. The one rule of thumb that you want to know with lighting is that you want light coming from in front of you, and you want a significant light source coming from in front of you. I have an open window in front of me, and that provides a really nice natural light. It doesn't have to be a natural light. You can use a ring light, you can use a photography light, you can use just a lamp, or you can just use a ceiling light. Really any kind of light. The two things to keep in mind are that it's in front of you, because if you have the light behind you, then it looks like there's a lot of light around you, and your body is kind of blocking the light, and so what ends up happening is that it adjusts so that you look super dark, and you're kind of like stuck in the shadows where all the light is around you, which you don't want. So you want the light coming in front of you so that everything is lit up, everything is even. Like you can see a little bit in my video right here, everything is fairly even here because I have the light coming from in front of me. And then also keep in mind shadows. You can set your light, if you set your light right behind a camera, for example, then you get a big camera shadow like right in your face, which of course you don't want. So if that's the case, then just set your light a little bit to the right or to the left of the camera so that it's still giving you a good front light, but the shadow of the camera is not on you. Okay, now setting. Where do you actually record these things? This depends a lot on what kind of image you're trying to convey. And you should choose a setting that is related to the image that you want to convey. And that goes for not only setting, but your personal appearance. Like, what are you wearing? How are you groomed? Etc. Like, what jewelry do you have? What accessories? What shirt? Etc. Etc. So if I'm trying to talk to like old money business, like hoity-toity people that are I don't even know what the word is, but like I probably don't want to be in a t-shirt like this with a beard. You know, I probably want to be in a business suit and whatever. You know, just think about that a little bit. And then for the setting means like what's around you, what's behind you, what is the environment that you are in. So I don't know if you can see very well, but right now I have 2 bookshelves behind me filled with books. I have college degrees on the top of both bookshelves, and I also have several awards that I got for running video ads. So just this setting I created intentionally because it builds my credibility. It shows that I'm an educated person, that I read a lot, that I seek knowledge, and that I have achieved certain things in order to gain these awards. That's the idea. I'm not saying this directly. Well, I am in this video, but generally I'm not saying this directly. It's just subcommunication. Like, people can see that, and it fits with the image that I'm trying to convey of myself. And at the same time, you know, I'm in a t-shirt, so I'm not like a stiff business person. I'm very casual. So that's kind of the image that I try to convey. And you want to, and your image might be different, like depending on who your audience is. So you want either professional, like mine is professional, or if you're a personal trainer, then maybe your background is the gym. Or if you are a doctor, maybe your background is the front desk in your doctor's office. You know, whatever makes sense for your particular craft. Or if you don't have anything good that you could have as a background, just a neutral background works fine. So a white wall behind you works just fine. Just don't have anything that's going to contradict the image that you are trying to convey. Another thing to keep in mind is that you probably don't want mess. So if you have like a messy room, then you either want to clean the room or you want to shoot the video somewhere else, because the mess is going to convey that you are a messy person. Unless, again, that's something that fits with the persona that you were trying to convey. If you're okay with being viewed as a messy person, then more power to you. Like, leave the mess, whatever. But just keep that in mind. And then, little to no background noise. Of course, you know, if you have like traffic noise behind you, if you have a really loud air conditioner, or if you have your phones going off every 2 seconds, that's going to be a pain. So try to minimize that as much as possible. If you want to record outdoors, you can get a little thing they call a dead cat that you put over your microphone that will mute the wind noise. Anytime you're recording outdoors, even if there's just a little bit of breeze, it can get caught in the microphone and it sounds really bad. So keep that in mind for the sound of your setting. If you have like a little distraction, like your phone goes off, for example, then it's fine to just let it, like, give it a second. So I'm talking, I'm giving my spiel, and then my phone starts ringing. And so I just stop, wait a second for it to stop ringing. I can shut it off if it's within reach. If not, then I just wait a second. And then when it's done, I will just repeat the line that I had started saying when the phone went off, and then I'll just remove it in post-editing. No problem at all. Okay, now the frame. The frame is what you, like, the square or the rectangle that you see that the video is in. You want to take up most of the vertical space in the frame. If you see right now, I'm currently taking up most of the vertical space in the frame. Like, my body and my head are almost to the top of the frame of the video, right? If I stand on my tippy toes here, then I'll probably be all the way on top of the frame. What you want to avoid, and that's fine if you cut off a little bit of your hair at the top or something, like a little bit. You don't want to be cutting your head in half, obviously. But try to take up most of that space. What you want to avoid is this. It's like my head is at the bottom of the frame, and there's all this space above my head. That looks just bad. Just doesn't look professional. And then generally, I like to have my waist level to head in the frame. Or if you want to zoom out further, you can. I'm thinking about ad videos specifically here, but even talking head videos on social media. And the way that works is if I back up a little bit here, if you can see kind of about my waist level to my head, then you can see all the motions that I'm making with my arms. And so this is kind of engaging. If you tend to make motions with your arms normally, and if you don't, by the way, it actually helps. Like it's something visual that people can look at, so it's not something to really think about, but something to keep in the back of your mind, that it's good to express yourself freely with your hands, and if you do that, it makes it a little bit more visually engaging. So that's why I like to stand in that way, so that my arms are in the frame along with just my head and shoulders. Okay, now before you go and record your video, there are some practice exercises that I highly recommend that will just make you sound better when you go and record the video. So these practice exercises you're not going to record, right? Which is good, because you're going to sound like a total idiot. I'll warn you about that in advance. There's a few things that you do. Well, first thing, you won't sound like an idiot. This is the easy one. You just read through your script several times so that you can do so fluently with the right intonation in the right places. And when I'm talking about a script, this is specifically for ad videos. For ad videos, I always recommend that you have them scripted out exactly. Social media videos, you can get away with doing it more off the cuff, which is what I'm doing here, right? I'm not reading a script. I have a general outline here that I'm walking you through, but I'm not scripting out every single word that I say. With an ad, I would script out every word that I say. And if that's the case, if you're doing an ad, and the reason for that, by the way, is that there's very little wiggle room with an ad. Like because nobody wants to see your ad in the first place, so you got to make sure that every word is absolutely on point. If you're going to get somebody to actually pay attention to your ad instead of the thing that they actually wanted to watch, well, you got to do a really good job of holding your attention, and just a little bit of rambling is going to throw them off and it's going to get them to just skip the ad and stop watching. So that's why I script all of my ads. But if you're doing social media videos, if you're doing YouTube, then that's less necessary. Anyway, if you're doing a script, you want to read through your script several times so that you can do so fluently and with the right intonation in the right places, especially if you are reading a script that's written by somebody else, because their way of speaking may not be that intuitive to you. It may feel a little bit awkward, so you want to read through several times and get any parts that feel awkward, you want to repeat them until you get it in a way that it feels normal, that it feels natural to you. Once you do that, now this is really the vocal exercise, is you read through the script emphasizing the consonants. What that means is you read through the whole script like this. You're emphasizing the consonants. So consonants is like R and D and the THR and S and C and R, right? Everything that's not a vowel. If you remember from elementary school, everything that's not a vowel, you want to emphasize. It sounds like this. Read through script, emphasizing consonants. You read through the whole script that way. Yes, you'll sound like an idiot, but what you're doing is you're training your enunciation. The more you enunciate those consonants, the better you're going to sound, to a point. Obviously, the way I just did, the exercise is exaggerated, but the point is that you're overcompensating, and then that's going to feel more natural, and so when you talk normally, you're naturally going to enunciate better. And then the last exercise is to read through your script with exaggerated emotion. So be as dramatic as you possibly can. And this one, you're really, really going to feel like an idiot. So let me demonstrate. I'll just start by reading from point 5 here. 5. Vocal practice. This part is not recorded. You want to read through your script several times so that you can do so fluently with the right intonation in the right places. You want to read through your script, emphasizing your consonants. Read through a script with exaggerated emotion. You get the idea. Yeah, I feel like a dork. I'm sure I look and sound like a dork as well. So you might want to do this by yourself, not for the whole world to see like I just did. But what you're doing here and why this is helpful is that you're stretching the range of your ability to express yourself. A lot of us get stuck in this little box of emotion and expression, and what we think sounds normal ends up sounding super monotone. And we're like, read through script with exaggerated emotion, recording from script, computer screen beside camera. Like, that's what we sound like. We don't think we sound like that in our heads, but we do. And so if you will stretch your ability to express yourself, then when you talk normally, it'll sound much, much better. What I've found with myself, and I think this is true of most people, you know how they say that the camera adds 10 pounds? Like, you look fatter in the camera than you do in real life? Well, I've also found that the camera reduces your energy level by like 10%. So when you feel like you're talking normally, if you record on camera and you watch it back, it'll sound like you're super low energy. And so what I'm helping you to do is to get your energy level up. And in fact, another helpful trick is when you're actually recording to use a higher level of energy than feels natural. So think about, like, what is your normal way of speaking? And then just up the energy level, not exaggerated when you're actually recording, but just enough so it feels a little bit weird. It's like a little bit outside of your normal comfortable range. Don't go crazy with it, just a little bit, and then that ends up sounding pretty good. So do that and you'll just naturally sound a lot better when you actually go to start recording. So now we're going to actually record our video. Now, I'm going to show you how to record from a script. It would be similar if you're recording off the top of your head. You're just not reading a script. You want to put your computer screen beside your camera. This is, if you can see where my cursor is right now, I have my camera is like right beside my computer screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off my script that I'm looking at the script that's right beside the camera, and then once I record the whole thing, then in editing, I use a video editor called Descript, which I'll put a link in the description if you want to get a free trial to that. It's like the coolest video editing software ever, and you can do it even if you don't know anything about video editing. One of the features in Descript is it will, if you're not looking directly at the camera, it will like use some sort of AI thing that will make it look, it will alter the video to make it look like you're looking directly in the camera. It's super cool. Like, it makes life so much easier because now you don't have to look in the camera anymore. You can just read off the script, which normally looks totally unprofessional, but with this little adjustment in Descript, it makes it look like you're looking directly in the camera, which is super cool. It saves me so much time and headache. I love this feature. So you're going to put your script in a small window, like in a Word document, and put it as close as possible to the camera. I'll show you real quick what that looks like. If I, just a moment. Okay, so if I grab this is a Word document. I'm going to put it, well, my face is covering it up. So let's pretend that my camera is actually up here. It's like right beside the side of the screen, right in the middle, in the vertical axis here. And I'm going to read off this script right here that's right beside the camera. And I'm going to just click in it, and I'm going to scroll up and down. So I've got this set up. Now I'm going to hit record on the camera and just let it roll. So I'm not going to like stop the recording every time I mess up and start it again. I'm just going to keep letting it roll. And if I mess up, I'll just keep going, or not keep going, but I'll say the line again. If I forget what I'm going to say next, or if I lose my place, I'm just going to stop for a minute. I'm not going to stop the camera. I'm just going to stop talking. I'm going to find my place, and then I'm going to start again. So any mess ups that I do, anytime I say a word or a line wrong, I'm just going to keep recording. I'm not going to stop because I can just edit that out in post-editing. Or anytime there's a blank space, anytime there's a long pause, again, I can just edit out that pause in editing. It's really, really easy to do, again, especially if you're using Descript. So if you mess up a line or you don't say it as well as you could have, just repeat it. So don't continue. If you say a line totally wrong, don't continue to the next line. Say the line again, and if you have to say it 15 times before you get it right, then say it 15 times. That's no problem. You can just edit out the first 14 and keep the last one that actually sounds good. I've done this so many times. I still do. Like, I'll say the same line over and over again because for some reason I'm just getting tongue-tied and it won't come out right. And finally I nail it. I'm like, cool. So I did it 20 times and 19 out of them sucked, but nobody's ever going to know that because I'm only keeping the 20th one that was actually good. So yeah, editing makes life so much easier for you. It's so much more forgiving. It also takes the pressure off because now you don't have to get it right. You can screw up every single line and you just repeat it until you get it right. Like, you only need to get it right once and then you continue to the next line. And then as I'm doing this, I like to, especially if I'm standing back from the computer a little bit, like so that you can get my arms in the frame. Well, I will click in my Word video or my Word document with the script here, and I can use my little tracking ball on the mouse to scroll up and down. That's what I'm doing right now, the little tracking wheel thing. It's this thing. And so because I have a wireless mouse, this is kind of a cool trick that I invented. I will stand back and I will hold the mouse in my hand. I can't scroll anywhere, but I can still use the tracking wheel. So I'm just, as I'm reading the script, I'm scrolling down, right? IPA, Income Producing Assets window, Digital Nomad University, Digital Nomad Blueprint, Instagram following email list, Wealth Mastery Secrets, right? I'm like scrolling down as I am reading so that I don't have to like step back to the computer and grab the mouse and like, okay, I'm going to scroll down and then I'm going to step back and then I'm going to read it and then I'm going to step forward again and then I'm going to scroll down, etc. I can just do it as I'm as I'm going. And yeah, I might look like a weirdo because I'm holding a mouse just in the air, but nobody's ever commented on that as long as I've been doing it, so I don't think people even notice. So that's how, and then this is if you're recording from a script. So if you're recording just for a social media, you're not doing a script. If you're doing a screen share like what I'm doing right now, it's a little different. You probably want to just do a webcam and share your screen. There's a bunch of screen recording software. Currently I'm using OBS Studio. That's what I use for this right now. Sometimes you use Loom. There's a bunch of things that do this. And that you just kind of walk through and talk off the top of your head. If you are if you are just doing a social media video, let's say, and you don't have a script at all, you don't have anything to go on, and you're just recording yourself and you don't have anything scripted out, maybe you have an outline. Like sometimes I'll write down an outline on a notebook and I'll just look at that occasionally. What you do then is basically the same thing except you're not reading. So you're just free flowing it, and then if you mess up somewhere, then you just cut that part out in post-editing. So if I say something and I don't like the way that I said it, then I will just go back to the beginning of that thought, I will say it again, and when I'm happy with it, then I will continue. And then I can go edit that out in post-editing. As you get better at this, and if you want to practice, then you can just rattle it off and basically not make mistakes, or you make some mistakes, but they're not big enough mistakes that it's worth going back to post-editing. That's a skill that takes a little while to learn. That's something that I'm developing in that myself. That's part of the reason that I'm doing these lives. Because I'm doing this live, there's no forgiveness there. I can't go back and edit it. Well, actually, I can go back and edit the recording. They do let you do that, but I will rarely do that, except maybe I'll cut off the beginning. Like sometimes, like for this video, for example, I started off by saying, hey guys, can you hear me? Can you see my screen? It's like, I don't want that on the recording. That's only for the live. So I'm going to cut off that bit, but other than that, I'm not going to edit it at all. So that would, if you do this, like this is, and what was it, like 30 minutes here, I showed you pretty much everything that I have learned for recording highly effective ad videos that I use on YouTube, but they also work on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on any video ad platform, and it'll work for social media as well. If you would like to run YouTube ads for your business and would like my personal support and or me to do it entirely for you, then that's a service that I offer. I will put a link in the description where you can book a call and we'll talk about having me doing that for you. YouTube ads are the single best source of high quality leads and sales that I've ever found for a variety of reasons that I won't get into here because this is going to get long. But I have a lot of other videos on my channel about how to run YouTube ads if you want to know a little bit more about my strategy and how I approach it specifically, because there is a lot of skill to it. There's an art to it. It's not something that you're going to learn overnight, but I have a lot of material on that if you're interested in that as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.